What's happening, everybody? So today we're doing the paneling. Here are the new paneling panels. Here is the insulation that we're going to use. Here's one of the walls we're going to panel. We're going to show you how we do it, so let's do it. Okay, so last time we showed you how we're putting the paneling in between the little ribs, and we're gonna insulate underneath with this stuff. I'll go into a little more specific of why we decided to insulate so lightly later, but basically I used this on the Astro and it seemed to work really well. It's Evie. What? How much is this insulation? 45 bucks? 45, yeah, it's 45 bucks for 100 square feet of this stuff. It's this 3-in-1 underlayment from Home Depot, and it's it says it's good. It's recommended for all floating floors, laminate flooring, so it's just underlayment for that. And it has superior stability and sound dampening and thermal insulation. I don't know how well it works for sound dampening or whatever. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it will definitely help prevent condensation, which is my biggest worry in this thing. Because I am extremely sensitive to mold, and condensation leads to that. So we're gonna get started and show you how we do it. Okay, so this stuff happens to be absolutely the perfect width to stick up here because we want a little bit of space on the bottom. Let's see if I can manhandle my camera. There's just a little bit of space on the bottom. I wanted that so drainage could happen and airflow could happen. It's the same thing with the panels that go on there. So we're gonna do the shiny side out, I think, because technically this is to bounce heat back, and if this thing's getting hot, then it's just gonna bounce back and bounce back and bounce back and get stuck. I'd rather have it with the silver side out, which is gonna be covered by wood, so it's not really gonna reflect heat at all. Maybe a little bit, I don't know, man. I don't think it really makes that big of a difference, but maybe it does, I don't know. So we're just gonna do this shiny side out because it seems like the smartest way to do it to me. Okay, now that I got it in, it's time to get to screwing. So I got these little L brackets, Evie's idea, which was genius, by the way, and wood screws to go into the luau, nice and short. And then we got some self-tapping metal screws here. Let's see if it'll focus. Look at that, Canon 70D at it again. So yeah, so we're gonna screw this into probably the wood, and then we'll get it lined up the way we want, or we'll get it lined up the way we want it. And then put this in. Let me just show you. Okay, so it's really hard to work at an angle on a hill, by the way. If you have a flat place to work, it makes everything a million times better. It's so much harder. So I figure we'll do one like near the top. And do maybe like 4 of these, you know, like one kind of like a 4th down, and then one 3/4 down, and then one at the bottom too. Because this thing's at an angle. If you put just like 2 of them on there or something, it might rattle, and I really don't want rattle. That would be horrible. By the way, that's another reason why I want this foam to go all the way, so it's on every edge to prevent rattle. Because rattle is the worst. I just spent all that money and all that time putting all this rattle trap in. I want everything secured down so it's not gonna make a bunch of noise and ruin my music. Okay, that's not gonna work. I'm not gonna cut this out and redo all the other stuff. I'm just gonna show you guys my mistakes from now on. So the problem is that the distance from the hole in this L bracket to the bottom of the L bracket is too great, so that when this thing is like this, it goes over. It won't, the screw that goes through it won't go into the rib because it's too far above it. You know what I mean? It's too far this way. So I'm gonna try setting this thing behind and see how it lines up. I might have to just put these in ahead of time. Oh, that'll work. Will that work? That'll work. Yeah, so I just have to go in ahead of time to all of these and put these L brackets behind the board instead of on top. That'll look a lot cleaner too, except these little screws are gonna stick out the other side. I think. Will they? Yeah, they are. That sucks. I guess we'll have to find something to cover these little screws so that they don't show and they're not sharp. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through every single board and drill these things in, and I'm gonna try to get them level, like even, like the same spot each one, so that it just looks a little bit better. So I'm just gonna go through every single board and do this, and that should make it a lot quicker to install. Then we'll just like put up a board, or we'll move this insulation over, put up the board, screw it in, do the next one, do the next one, do the next one. Do it like a factory. That seems to always be best. Whenever you can set things up so you can do like pop, 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 you know, do the same thing over and over. Seems to always make things go the fastest. Okay, so learning as we go. See this mark right here? This is from the drill. So we're gonna have to come in and touch all of these up because that's gonna happen to all of them. Even if you try to go in at an angle, it just doesn't work. So the way we're gonna do this next one is kind of pull this insulation nice and tight. You pull on the insulation and make sure that it stays like straight, and then I'll push this one in. I'll go kind of up with this one. Yeah, there we go. So I'll have her hold this in while I put screws in the middle parts, because the middle is the part that's bowed in the most. It moves the most. Okay, now I just go around and screw the rest in and repeat that process 100,000,000 times. Alright guys, so there it is. We got all the paneling done. Let's see if I can give you a panorama. Pretty sweet. So yeah, that is done. Thank God. That was really, really, really hard work. What do you think we should do next? Huh? What do you think we should do next? We got some daylight left. I don't know. Should we do the front floor?
Yeah, we can start on it. We can start on it.
Okay, we're gonna go do the front floor now. Look at my hair, it's crazy. So Evie's over here cleaning up the rubber floor mat that goes in here. I cleaned this area up. This is the stuff we bought for the floor. It makes all these crazy claims. It's called Easy Cool, and it says outperforms all competitive products, offers dozens of uses, and gives you the advantage of a low E-brand insulation. I don't know what that means. It says it blocks 97% of radiant heat transfer. It's lightweight, flexible, puncture and crush resistant, long-lasting, non-toxic, will not rust or mildew. Use it anywhere to stop heat transfer and deaden sound. Floor, roof, hood, quarter panels, trunk, engine compartment, and more. Those are some pretty beefy claims. This stuff basically just looks like thicker Reflectix to me. And it looks to me like a big air bubble, or a bunch of little air bubbles. Much finer air bubbles than Reflectix with much thicker silver stuff on it. So I think it's basically just Reflectix. So I don't know how much good it will actually do, but I wanted to test it out anyway. So I guess I'll let you guys know. This is definitely not a scientific experiment, but I'll let you know how it works. So we're just gonna drop this on the floor here, and then probably put a layer of that stuff we used to insulate the walls back there, just on top, and then the factory rubber mat over there. I think that's hopefully will be sufficient. If not, we will get some mass-loaded vinyl, because that's really the next step. And sound dampening. We want to dampen sounds from the engine and everything, which isn't very loud to begin with, and cool off like the heat from the engine and the transmission and the road and everything under there. especially in the summer. Keep the cab a little cooler. So I'm just gonna set this thing. I lined it up with that piece of foam and went all the way back. I'm gonna go up here and just cut around the doghouse and around the fenders and everything, and just keep cutting until it fits perfect, I guess. Look at that, all shiny, super pretty. All right, so there's that. That part's done. Waiting for Evie to get back, and then I think we might put another layer on there. I'm getting worn out, man. This is a lot of work building a van, I tell you what. I've had some people say, why don't you start a business just building vans? It's too much work. It's hard, man. It's hard work. I would not want to do this all the time. Every couple months is all right, but all the time, no way, man. I'd much rather be out traveling. So I told you guys I was going to tell you more about what I discovered with insulation. So when I first did the Astro, I had 1 inch on the walls, plus Reflectix over all the windows, and I think 1.5 inches or 2 inches on the ceiling. And I went down to Nashville, Tennessee in July, real hot in the south, and it was like 90 degrees, probably 90 to 100% humidity all the time, thunderstorms, the whole deal. I roasted. I absolutely roasted, and it took hours. It took until like I think 5 or 6 in the morning for the inside to cool off enough where I could sleep in it. So I had to have all the windows open all the time. It was still too hot in there. And what I think happened is as the metal heats up, when you got insulation directly behind it, especially a bunch of it, it actually traps all that heat in there and doesn't allow it to dissipate. When you don't have as much insulation, this metal, yeah, it gets hot in the sun, but it can cool off real fast. It can get rid of that heat. Once the sun's gone, this metal cools off a lot. So if there's no insulation on it, it can just cool off on its own. And that's what I was missing when I went to Tennessee. So in my opinion, my experience in the heat, you definitely want a lot less insulation. And once I actually removed that insulation when I was down in Florida and I had a lot less insulation, I was like, huh, it's way cooler in here all the time now. And it's because that insulation was trapping in the heat completely. But when I went back to Salem the next year to work in the haunted house, it was definitely much colder inside the van. My body heat didn't warm up the inside of the van like it used to. So if you're going to be in cold climates, insulate the hell out of your van. If you're going to be in warm climates, don't. That's what I found out. I have a couple people in the comment section telling me that's ridiculous. You need to insulate the hell out of your van if you're going to be in hot climates. I found that to not be true by direct experience. So unless your laws of physics are different than mine, I don't understand how that could be. But maybe I'm missing something. So anyway, that's my speech on that. I think we're just going to get this thing back together and go run some errands and get some food. I'm starting to get hangry again. I need some food. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Love yourself.